Here's what I'm never gonna do here. I am never going to pretend that I live a perfect carnivore life. I'm also never gonna pretend that my family does it with me fully. And I am just from the perspective of a 3-year carnivore myself. I have been coaching in nutrition for over 10 years. I am a strength coach and I run a gym where I coach women every single day. And I live and breathe the lifestyle that I share with you. But it is not perfect. And I don't ever want you to think that it is. I want this page to be approachable. I want to make carnivore realistic for you. And I also want to show you the areas where I am not perfect so that you can see where you can make adjustments for your own lifestyle. I was just thinking about you all when I was at the grocery store because I was buying things that are non-carnivore. And I was like, I need to show this because I am the primary shopper for my family. I prepare all the meals for my family, and my family is not carnivore. And so I would say that they eat a more of a balanced lifestyle. My husband isn't completely on board. He gets it. He understands why I do it and why I coach it, but it's not for him yet. He still likes to include some fruits and vegetables. He does not have grains or any carbohydrates outside of fruits and veggies. My kids, on the other hand, I have always been coaching nutrition from a standpoint of moderation. I grew up in a household that we all had high cholesterol. My mom was doing the very best that she knew to do, right? She was doing her research. And so we just never had great snacks in our house. I would go to my friends' houses and I would binge their snacks. And I don't really know why I ended up with a food addiction and with a binge eating disorder. And it wasn't always all the time. I never could characterize myself as having bulimia, but I did always have a carb addiction. And I can think of hundreds of times where I overate to really discomfort, where I could not stop myself from eating, where I was not eating because I was hungry, but I was just addicted. And so I have been very thoughtful as a parent about how I'm raising my kids. And I've always erred on the side of giving them access and giving them exposure to all sorts of different types of foods so that when they go, like I used to go babysitting and I would go see, like they would have fruit snacks and I would eat their whole box of fruit snacks because I wasn't used to having it. So for me, food was like a scarcity thing. I didn't always see really great food, so when I did, I couldn't control myself around them. I also grew up with a mom who, despite everything that she tried to do to educate herself, she was still in a generation where dieting was the norm and getting skinny was the norm. And we weren't talking about body positivity. We weren't talking about what healthy actually looks like. So that had to have had a little bit of an effect on me. So I expose my kids to all sorts of foods. So my kids are going to be exposed. School lunches are awful. Birthday parties are a thing. My oldest is now walking from school to like the convenience store after he does homework at the library with friends. I can't control everything. And the things that I try to do are educate my kids about how foods make them feel when they're not feeling well because they've had certain foods. I don't throw it in their face, but I try and educate and say, do you think that maybe if you had some steak instead of having a bunch of Oreos, which would make you feel better? I try and educate them as best I can, but I really just don't want to restrict and I don't want to have combative conversations around food. So here are some things that I buy for them. My kids have fruits and vegetables, so I'm always buying organic berries for them, and we're serving that alongside their bacon and egg breakfasts. I really do try to limit bread. My oldest really loves bagels, and so full transparency, this is what I buy. It's total crap. I hate that he eats it. But the thing that I do is just make sure that he has egg and bacon with it. So he's getting good satiating fats. He's getting high nutrient foods along with the carbohydrates to try and slow down the carbohydrate effects on his body. That's all I can do. And then as they get older, maybe they decide to go carnivore with me. Maybe they decide to go animal-based, but I'm always going to educate them. I buy things like popcorn. I don't agree with having corn. I think it can bother their gut. If they're gonna come to me and tell me that they feel like shit sometimes, I'm gonna break down, okay, did you have Takis? Did you have things with dyes? Did you have extra sugars? What are the things that you put in your body? Here are the reasons why you might not be feeling great. Here are some other things. Rice crackers, still don't love them, a little bit better, but they still have safflower oil. Gluten-free pretzels, just because it's gluten-free doesn't make it healthy. Takis, Pringles, but that's in moderation. We talk about snacking in moderation. I talk about the energy that comes from your food. I don't really talk about calorie counting, but I talk about how the energy that they're getting from these foods is empty, and it's not going to give them sustained energy to go play football or go play soccer. So I talk about all of those things. When they get home from school, I give them, I don't force it on them. I just say, would you like a snack plate? And on the snack plate, what I'll usually put, I'll put a little bit of bacon, I'll put a mozzarella cheese stick, I'll put maybe some pepperoni, I'll put some berries, I'll put a Paleo Valley beef stick, I will give them a little bit of peanut butter and apples. Not condoning any of this food. None of this food, except for some of the things I said in there, are carnivore. But these are things where I'm trying to balance. I'm trying to give them a lower glycemic load. I'm trying to balance the sugar that they're having with fiber. I'm trying to give them some fat along with that sugar so it's slower to absorb. But here are the other things that I get. I get a lot of meat. They eat a ton of red meat. We eat a ton of chicken. We eat a ton of protein and fat. They eat a lot of butter. So we balance everything out in this house. Not everyone is carnivore all the time, except for me. And that's totally okay. And so when you are planning on going carnivore in your family, I've been responding to a bunch of people that say, my family's never going to do this. It doesn't matter. Do it for you. Your influence will be important to your family. It doesn't mean they're going to be perfect and make perfect choices all the time. But again, this is a 12 and 10-year-old we're talking about. They're still learning, they're still growing. I know I'm setting a good foundation and a good example for them for when they're actually choosing what they put in their body. So I'm not a perfect mom. I work on this every single day. We have conversations about health all the time. My kids are getting more and more into sports, and I'm sure they're going to start to make different changes. But for now, we don't force anything. I just guide. And hopefully that helps you to understand that you don't have to be perfect either.